still don't know if there are people who have more than one best friend. I really do. I thought I've known that best friend people only have one best friend.
But you see, Tabby, can you see for a fact with the years that you've been in this earth?
Only one. I know that people only have one best friend.
Since you were born up to now, you've only had one best friend.
Everyone, my name is Tabby, and today in this episode we shall be talking about self-love, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host
Tracy.
So Tracy, you're talking about self-love. So how do you show up for yourself? How have you been taking care of yourself?
I mean, first of all, I don't even know if I've been taking care of myself. I tend to think for the past few months it's more of work, family. I don't think if I've been in a space whereby I'm just, relaxing. Because for me personally, what I'll say for my self-love, it is more of relaxing, just sitting down, relaxing or watching a movie, or best of the best is sleep. I love my sleep. Don't we all? Oh, there are people who don't love their sleep. There are people who just...
I love my sleep.
I love
my sleep. But I'm a night hawk. But I'll sleep, actually. I'll choose sleep from anything else.
For me, my hobby, I always tell people my first hobby is sleep. And then after sleep, we go to watching movies, because now you're just relaxing your mind. You're not thinking about things. You're not being in a space where you're stressed out about the pressure that is there. You're just relaxing. And you see, for self-love is more of how you're taking care of yourself in 5 facets. Physical,
obviously.
Exercise. As Tabby said, are we going to exercise? Are we walking as an exercise? It's supposed to be fun.
Not again. Not again.
I mean, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun on your exercise.
So physically, emotionally,
it's more of for me personally, will be exercising or going to a new place, visiting a new place, seeing new restaurant or going for adventure. So
you're just involving your body and taking a few, exercise and all, which is really good.
And then what you've said about spiritual. Spiritual is basically, Tabby, us as Christians.
Pray. Read your Bible. Meditate. We know all these things, word by word.
But are we doing it?
I try. God knows.
I know. We try as much as possible. When you look at it, from my experience, I will say that time is very, very...
It's very serene, actually.
Serene, very nice. And for me, I always say that I practice this in two ways, because where we live, guys,
that's not a lie.
So meaning, if I want to go to the stage, there's a space where I have to walk.
You walk.
And I have to walk. And that, for me, walk, I take it as my walk, I'm exercising.
Tracy.
And also I am praying.
That distance is too small to claim like
it's 15 minutes walk.
It's 15 minutes.
A lot.
Do you walk that slow?
It is a lot, because now that time I use as exercise, and that time also used to talk to God. Like, I'm also praying that time, because that is like the alone time you'll have, regardless of waking up and
I wouldn't lie. I can't pray on my way. Like, my mind gets distracted. Like, there's no way I can just bring my mind together to be praying as I walk.
But you're walking.
I can't do that.
It's called
good for you.
Walking while praying. I'm a prayer walk.
It's called prayer walk.
I can have that prayer walk.
But that has to, prayer walk is like very intentional. Like, you leaving your house maybe to the gate, and you are intentionally, that that's what you're doing. But if you are just going to to pick a car or to pick a cab on stage, then like you are not, that's not like, it's not the focus. Like prayer is not the focus. I mean, so someone can call you, you can easily get distracted. So there are prayer walks. So I don't know, this one that you're doing is special, my dear.
I take that, for me it's because in the morning when there is, you know,
it's quiet.
It's quiet.
Oh yeah, so you're taking advantage of the silence.
Thank you. Again, I told you it's not happen.
Wow. Do you have like an extra space there?
You can come. Oh, of course, come in. Come.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, it's more of that physical and also spiritual.
Yeah.
Because now I commit my day to God, regardless of waking up, preparing yourself, that way I can commit my day to God before now the day starts.
Yeah.
Again, when you look at it, you have to have your own time
with God.
With God,
yeah.
You have to have your own time. So if you don't have that time, things will not go as
So there's
as
also
you
the
want
emotional part of it, which I know you wanted to also talk about.
So emotional bit of it is
just having friends that maybe I'll chip in. You know, friends that you know
you can talk to,
and maybe who help your mind to stay sane, because life right now isn't lifing as we thought.
Guys,
so having people who can hold you down emotionally, I think it's very important. And now we're talking about, you know, choosing your friends wisely. You know, you don't just put everyone, you know, there are people who like you can consider, okay, this is the inner circle, and then there are people who also surround you.
So
also,
do you believe in putting people in different boxes?
Obviously I do. Obviously I do.
I mean, remember I had this conversation and you are like, no.
When
you had this conversation about friends.
My memory is
and I
so
told
bad.
you, for me, I have friends that not all my friends are in the same box.
Obviously not.
Some are different. And you're like, no, you have to have a friend who's supposed to just be one. And one is your best friend.
Maybe best.
And all.
No, okay.
You know?
Maybe I meant like, okay, when you talk about, you know, friendship is actually a very broad discussion, and there are people like, okay, for a best friend, you can't tell. Okay, I don't know whether people have more than one best friend.
You can have more than one best friend.
I don't know. I don't know anyone who has more than one. Maybe maybe boys have that, but for us ladies, yeah. So and I don't even know whether men actually have best friends. They do. Maybe one day we shall invite. You know,
we should.
You should invite them,
guys. We should invite. Do you think we should invite a male guest to talk about friendship? Yeah. Comment on it.
Because at the end of the day, I believe like the scene, like when talk about friendship as girls, like it's different from friendship, you know, with the boys. You know, for them, I don't know whether there is the concept of best friend or this. I really don't know. So I think at the end of the day, friendships are also very important because they're just a way they stabilize, you know, your mind. So you can't have different friendships. Maybe for different reasons, obviously. So for me, I don't know. I still don't know if there are people who have more than one best friend. I really do. I thought I've known that best friend people only have one best friend.
But you see, Tabi, can you see for a fact with the years that you've been in this earth?
Only one. I know that people only have one best friend.
For the years that you've been, this is your experience. For the years that you've been in this earth, since you were born up to now, you've only had one best friend.
At a season, at a time. Maybe I'll say that. I've had one best friend at a time.
Exactly. You can't just say for a lifetime you have only had one best friend.
I'm not talking about for a lifetime. Like, Tracy, like, I don't think it's even appropriate. Okay, maybe it is.
What?
Okay, you can have friends, but to say like, I've never like had someone say, okay, I have, these are my best friends. Okay, I've had people say, these are my friends. You know, like, depending on where you are, you can have, you know, you can have career friends, you know, people you share the same career, and you have, you know, you're sharing knowledge and all, but you can have just friends, people you've grown up with, and you know, so all these things, they, you know, they help you, but at the end of the day also, I feel like even in friendship, there should be boundaries, because if you don't create boundaries, people start overstepping their boundaries. They start overstepping their mandate, and then at the end of the day, now you are left with the people who really don't. Maybe they loved you, but they didn't know how to treat you. So I also believe that it's important to tell people like how you like to be treated.
Yeah.
That's the concept of love languages.
Yeah.
So love languages don't only exist in romantic relationships.
Exactly.
Like you can tell your friends like the things you like. So if you like quality time, let your friends know that, hey, even though I buy her gifts, this is what she likes the most. It's not like they can't buy gifts, which friends should be people who create a safe space for you to also thrive,
but also
to be free.
Okay. Yeah.
The friends who can challenge you. They show up for you the way you also show up for them. And for you to have that, to have all that, you also need to be someone that also shows up for her friends in the same way, even if it's maybe better than what they do, because you can't expect people to extend their friendships to you when you are doing nothing for them.
Also, Tabi, when we talk about that, I've just had a thought whereby when you say emotional, it's not just about friends and having the activities that we may have with them, but also family.
Yeah.
When you look back at our lives and how we are raised, and you might have family members who are, for lack of a better word, toxic. They're just toxic. They're ever in a bad mood, in a foul mood. There's nothing that you will do that will ever be good. There's nothing that, even if you're just there, even if you're breathing, it's a problem. So having known that, you're able even to be in a space where you yourself, as you're taking care of yourself, you are aware of that and how to handle yourself in that situation. Because let's face it, sometimes you might think, and when you're children, you're like, I'll grow up. When I grow up, I want to live in my own house, have my own things and all that. Sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as you plan, or as quickly as you thought, like, oh my God, I'll be 18,
and I'll be outside,
and you're in that environment for a while. So dealing with that environment and knowing that this is
with the toxicity now,
this is it, hakuna kutoka, this is it. How do you just take care of yourself in that environment whereby now it's toxic, but I'm not going anywhere, I have no choice, and I'm here,
So I feel like just the same way we mentioned, I don't know whether it's you who talked about boundaries. You see, as we grow, something that I've learned, Tracy, is that like just the same way, drivers mostly say, like when you're driving, you have to assume that you are the only sane driver on the road, So the same concept also applies to life. It's you now that need to guard yourself against all these things. So you need to build yourself in a way, not building walls around you, but just building the capacity, especially when you know that this is the environment that I'm in, especially when you know the people you are dealing with, then you need to build yourself, talk to yourself, self-talk, talk to yourself and get enough skills and knowledge to thrive in that environment. Because if you don't, you'll be complaining every day, you'll be crying every day, you'll be hurt every day. That things that you just need to look at and just move on. The issues you need to address, but there are things that you need to, you already know this is it. I've talked about this and it has never been handled. So let's just leave it the way it is. So it takes a different, you start what's the word? You acquire a different perspective you acquire a different perspective on the situation, not letting your emotions be everywhere, not being reactive. Sometimes there are people who are very, very, very reactive, and when you are reactive, you are giving the other person the upper hand, to even treat you worse, because now you are letting them know your weakness, and there are people who will push that button as many times as possible until you break.
Just to see how far can I poke Tabby? How far?
Even vulnerability. I hear people talking about, okay, you're supposed to be vulnerable, you're supposed to be vulnerable, but at the end of the day, you also need to know which spaces are safe for me to be vulnerable. Because if you are this person who keeps like when something is happening in your life, you're ready to tell person A, B, because you assume that you're friends, or maybe because you just want to feel good about it, because maybe not everyone cares, or maybe not everyone wants good for you. So under self-care, it's very important to also be careful, be very selective on how vulnerable you are and who you are vulnerable to. So that's also another concept that maybe I feel like people should consider when it comes to self-love and self-care.
And also, I know about emotions, but for me, I'll dive into the mental health. There's a mental self-care. This is whereby you say about a mirror talk. I remember there's a time whereby in my life, things were not working out. And they are literally not just working out. Hakuna kitu ilikuwa ina make sense.
There are times like those.
And then there's a conversation I had with one of my parents, and the thing was, oh, this and this is not happening, this and this is not good. And for me, I went back. When you said that is when I had a mirror talk with myself. I'm like, you know what? It came up with, I took that verse that says, I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I was saying it to myself to remind myself that
of who you are.
Of who I am. Not of what it has been said already. Not that way that person is looking at you like, oh my God, you're over
failed.
25.
You have
and
failed.
And
you have failed.
Nothing is happening in your life. You're trying this, it is not working. You're trying this, it is not working. You're trying this. It's not relationship. It is not work. It is not studies. It's just everything was just going like from here to down here. So having that conversation with myself, and it was more of a mirror talk. Like I'm looking at the mirror and saying, you know what? I am the head and not the tail. I am above and not beneath. And I am blessed. When you have that conversation over and over,
you start changing your perspective.
I started changing my perspective, and I stopped listening to
the
those
voices
things that those voices, or assuming or having that assumption that, oh, because it has been said,
so this is who I am.
This is who I am. No. But I have to tell myself, no, this is not who you are. You are called. You are a child of God. So if you're a child of God, you're a winner by that. So having that mirror talk, I think it's very important for people to do. I think reflect on it. You might not necessarily do it, the mirror, but reflect on your life, reflect on on the word. If you're a Christian, reflect on that. Have that knowing back that in this world, this world is not your friend. It is not your friend.
The world is damaged, yo.
It is not your friend. We are all
damaged by the...
And don't expect that everyone will have your back. Don't expect that since you're, a very wonderful person, everyone else is a wonderful person. Like what you said, it's very important that when you look at it, when you look at your life, are you assessing it in the point, are you the same driver? Or are you assessing it in the point that you're the insane driver? Because if you're
like you can't decide like, I'm going to be insane because everyone else is insane.
But you can
you have to make a decision to choose to be different.
But when you're hurt, when you're in pain, when you're angry,
sometimes you don't see it.
Oh, honey.
Sometimes you can't. Actually, what I've realized that Tracy, especially if you are in pain and you are, let's talk about depression even maybe. Since we're talking about mental, stuff. So when you are down, that's what you're trying to say. Like when you are down, like that things that actually don't make sense.
Yes.
Even claiming you don't even feel like you are the head. The way we are saying, okay, I looked in the mirror and I said I'm the head, I'm winning, I'm doing all these things.
You're saying it because you're not feeling it, but you have to.
But you see the person that is actually down and mentally down, these things don't actually make sense, and they don't want to. It's not like they don't know. Some of these people, you find yourself like maybe you are down, but you know the word of God. It's not like you don't know the word of God. But now at this moment, this is not what you want. Maybe you want something else. That's why counseling is important and all these things. So, just as you're saying, reflection, you reflect on what's going on in your life. You shouldn't beat yourself down. We're talking about self-love. Love yourself. Don't beat yourself. Don't join the crowd in beating you.
Yes.
Because, listen, even let me even give the examples of, just Christianity and people who are, famous. Right now, you make one mistake like this, there's cancel culture. Like people, you get cancelled. Like you could be like the best person in the world, but you make one mistake like this, you're cancelled. And even cancel culture is even in the families. You make one mistake and now everyone is looking at you like the black sheep, like you fail, like nini. But you need to, because I don't even know how to put this, but it's important that you love you should be your number one cheerleader. You should be your number one. If you're waiting for the world to cheer you up and give you validation and do all these things for you, sometimes it's just not there. And sometimes people who let you down are the people you didn't expect. Sometimes it's family and it hurts. But it hurts, but they have already made that decision. This is how they see you in the moment, okay? So it's on you now to love yourself enough to rise from the ashes, you see, and build again, even in places that you have failed. You already said in these episodes, in other previous episodes, that you are not your mistakes. Your failures don't define you. So when you fail, you don't say, okay, this is now who I am, I'm a walking failure. This is just a season and it's a phase which actually is passing. You see, the problem with these phases, they hit us so hard that sometimes we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, it's very true. What you're saying is very true. But when you're talking about mental health, we should also focus on reading books. So reading books, you can talk about, books that are challenging your mind. Challenging your mind in the sense that, self-books. Self-help books you have. And also, I will say also for, as a Christian, your first book should be
the Bible. Of course.
And in that same look at it when you say spiritual. Read other people who have written books about their journey with Christ, how it has been, where they are now.
To be inspired.
That's where you're going to be inspired about it, and that's where you're also inspired to walk in this walk that you are walking of faith. And self-books. Also watch or listen to podcasts that challenge you, challenge your mind, and read or watch blogs, read blogs that are lifestyle, that are talking about lives, what people have gone through, how they have handled it.
Just to get the different perspective.
When you're getting different perspective of how people have dealt with the issue, because sometimes we tend to think that what we are going through
is just specific to us.
It's just specific, and you get to realize
it is just me. God doesn't like me. Sometimes those are some of the things we say. Especially when we're going through hardships, we'll be like, God doesn't like me. This is just me. It's now the focus turns to you. But actually, what you're saying is right. When you listen to other people and you see maybe even the hurdles they had to pass to succeed, then you realize that challenges are not just for they're not just set apart to for you as a person. This is the thing. That's just life. Okay, and the people who have had to go through even greater challenges to be where they are. So actually that motivates you greatly. When you listen to other people, when you read books, when you get different perspective. Exactly, just what you're saying. But I feel like even in this discussion as we are going on, that we are going far. We are going far when it comes to self-love.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have started in personal, like taking care of yourself, as a form of self-love. I think that should be like the basic, taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you show up looking homeless, sorry, when you show up
looking what? Homeless.
When you show up looking homeless, so unkept, you show up and you want to. Like people actually don't take you serious when you can't take care of yourself. Like people don't trust you to be even to share ideas.
When you look at yourself physically and before you walk out of the room,
that should be the first thing,
and you look like person who's going through the challenges.
You actually look like the challenges you are going through.
Exactly.
So what I was trying to say is this, team. Like the first thing, the first sign that that shows that you're actually taking care of yourself, that actually shows that you love yourself.
Yes.
Is when you take care of yourself. Just the basic oral hygiene.
What is basic?
Oral hygiene, man. You need to look good. You need to smell good. You need to at least brush your teeth. You need to at least just do the basics.
Okay.
Wear clean clothes. Just that's like the basic. Before we can even go to taking care of yourself emotionally and spiritually and all these things, you see. So let's start from like the basic. That's what I was saying, and I'm saying also that. Like even when you're out there, they say that first impression is very important. Cindy,
you're dressed how you're dressed.
You are addressed how you dress.
You're addressed how you dress.
Now, thank God I remember that one.
Yeah.
Because I've been forgetting everything else. Yeah. So you are dressed how you dress, right?
Yeah.
So how you present yourself is actually very, very, very important. Like self-love is not something that you can just say people, oh, me, I love myself. But if you can't say it, then it doesn't really matter. We need to say it on how you carry yourself and even the boundaries that you are setting for your life. I think we talked about that earlier.
That is basic hygiene. When you look at it, it's more physical, how you appear to people, how you talk to people, how they see you.
Yeah, actually, that's right. Yeah.
So if I meet you, Tabi, and your hair is like, and I meet your face and you're like, mafuta inside, mafuta ingine, as in ziko, different parts. And how you dress, you're like, ay, damn, kwani leo, akuona pasi. Ama, how now people start looking at you in a different way compared to Tabi came here, she's smelling nice. Her hair is so kept. Her makeup is on point. And, her dress, oh my God. So even before you open your mouth.
So even if you are going through something, it doesn't really look like that.
Yes, you don't look your problem.
You don't look like your problem.
You don't look
because
you don't look your problem.
Because you can go through a problem and come out without looking or smelling like the problem that you are actually going through. Cindy?
And then now comes to the question, how do you validate yourself?
First of all, you
yourself. How is Tabi, when Tabi looks at herself and she sees who she is, currently where you are, how do you validate yourself? Like, I am Tabi, I am blessed, I am favored, I am who I am, very beautiful. How do you validate yourself? Not minding the society, not minding your friends, not minding your family, not minding anyone else, but you yourself. How do you validate yourself?
So first thing, I think I set a time apart to just be alone. I remember we talked about love languages, and for me, I think napenda love sana. So love languages for me, I think was like, I love, other than gifts, I love like quality time. So for me, I feel like just spending time, it doesn't have to be like in an expensive resort or whatever. of course I can afford that now, but the future wait for me. So it doesn't have to be like something so exquisite, you know. It can just be maybe just being at home and being in your element, and you know, maybe enjoying a movie, you know. And I love that time, that alone. I don't know, I love alone time. Actually, you know, sometimes I've been asking myself, I don't know, you know, the way they discuss these personality traits, you know, I sometimes think with that person, that bubbly, okay,
extrovert.
Okay, people may think like if you interacted with me and I'm free with you, you might think that I'm an extrovert, which I feel like I'm not. I feel like maybe I'm a mixture of those two. Yeah. Because I like my time, especially. I mean, I like my time alone. I like to, you know, just to be, to meditate, to think, you know, to like reflect on life. Okay, so for me, that alone time is actually, it's really very, very, very important. And I feel like sometimes I also get like really drained, like socially drained, like after like a group you know, fun and all. I just need like a few days to unwind. Like I can't do like a progressive like interaction. Like so Leo imekuwa like fun tena kesho I'm just like bruh, I just need some time out, you know. So I'm that kind of a person. So for me, that time alone is the place where the quality time. That's how I validate like myself, you know, and just looking through and growing. Actually, you know, you talked about knowledge. Actually, knowledge is very important. And some of the things that happen in our life and that we find like a struggle, sometimes it's not even like, I know we need money, we need all these things, we need nini, but some of the things that make us depressed, that make us sad, some of these things are, maybe it's just a lack of, you know, perspective.
Yes, most of the times it is.
Yeah, because like problems and all these things, they are some of the, not even some, but problems are seasonal, and life is lived in seasons. You know, there are times you have it, there are times you actually don't. There are times it's 50-50, you know. But if you are just in a cocoon where, as you said, you know, you are not listening to anybody's ideas, you are not you're not trading, you are not, you are not outside there. You know, you guys like challenging me to be open-minded, which probably I might just do soon as I keep interacting with you. But I feel like as you continue to get information, you know, from other people and from other perspectives, like you start thinking differently, you know. So you come out of the bubble. You know, if that bubble is depression and all, like it breaks because you can already, you have a different perspective on life, right? So that's how I validate my life. What about you, T? How do you validate
when you
yourself?
talk about, you know, looking back, for me it was usually more of I look back at my life, where I was and where I am right now. It was more of I was looking outside for the validation from outside. Nowadays I do not. I don't think it's because I tend to think it's because
you're grown. You're a big girl, huh?
I'm over 25 and there. And when you look back, you're like, oh, I needed, you know, somebody just to tell me, oh, Tracy, you're beautiful. Oh, Tracy, you have a nice figure. Oh, Tracy, you are this and that. Now, those days I was like,
you need to hear that.
Yeah, I need to hear.
And what's your love language, by the way, Tracy? Money.
I'm a cute. No, I think for me, my love language is quality time.
Really?
I really, really enjoy spending time with the people that I love. So quality time is for me number one, and then physical touch. That's it's on Billy. It's a two. It's a two.
Wow.
Anyway, we digress. For me, what I'll say is how I validate myself. I talk to myself.
You do?
I do talk to myself.
At the risk of looking mad?
Insane? No, not in front of people. It's just me. I talk to myself. I talk to myself in the sense that I'm in the room. I talk to the mirror. I'm like, this and this about me. Now, I know I'm beautiful. It doesn't mean I need to hear it from somebody else. I know I'm good. I don't have to listen or to hear it from somebody else. I know where my heart is. I don't have to listen to anyone telling me that. Or if somebody comes with the negative energy, I'm like, no, I don't need that in my life. I'm
positive vibes only.
Positive
vibes only.
Again. So we need to ask, even for our audience, how do they validate themselves?
Yeah, they should let us know in the comment section.
They should let us know how do they validate themselves when they are sitting down and talking to themselves and having that self-love. Because I believe everyone needs to have that. And also what you have said is very important, that if you're in a place whereby you are not understanding yourself, I would still recommend that
therapy.
Yes. Counseling. Have a therapist. Go to a therapist. Just visit. If you cannot afford, talk to a friend who actually will take the time to listen to you. And just listen to you. Because sometimes you don't need people to tell you, oh, this and this and this. You just need somebody having a listening ear. Somebody will just listen to you and hear, oh, Tabi, you're going through this. Okay, I hear you.
And sometimes you don't even need solutions. Sometimes you just need the ear. Just as you said. When you're looking for, the friendship, and maybe when you just want to vent, there's that part where you've had it.
You've had it.
And you just want that ear, So even, just as you're saying, have safe spaces,
Yes.
To a toxicity in your life.
Yes.
When you feel like this is toxic, or I've been trying to talk about this issue and I don't see any progress, then just give them time. Sometimes cutting people off, which I rarely do.
You rarely do, or you do?
I rarely do.
Okay.
I just ghost you. So is it the same thing?
Same difference. Same difference. Same difference.
So T, I know self-love is actually wide, and we can spend the whole night talking about self-love. So guys, that's all we had today on the show about self-love, and we are asking you to leave a comment on the comment section. Tell us how you're taking care of yourself. Tell us how you're validating yourself, and tell us how you're showing up on yourself. And don't forget to hit that notification button so that you get notified every time we upload new videos, and also subscribe to our channel.